Hello and welcome. Today let's see how to make things react to any audio track inside After Effects. Alright, let's go. Alright, I have a composition here with this little circle right here. It's pre-comped, and I have my audio track here. Let me drag it into the composition, and what you can do is right click on it, go to keyframe assistant and convert audio to keyframes. And once you do that, After Effects would create this null object with 3 slider controls applied. This is the left channel, this is the right channel, and this is the both channels. What are these keyframes? Is actually, if you open this audio track, you'll see this waveform right here. In order to make things react to this waveform right here, we need to represent these waveforms in some kind of a numerical way. That's what we did. After Effects has given us an option right here. You just have to click on it, and the After Effects will bake the waveform values into keyframes. Now you can see the values right here. If you watch them, they change all the time, and they all perfectly comply with the changes of the audio track. If you select these keyframes and go to the graph editor, and this is how the values would fluctuate. In this case, the maximum value, it seems like it's right here, like 51.5, and the minimum value is obviously should be very close to 0, 13 point something or 4, maybe. Yeah, definitely it fluctuates between 51.5 and 0. And these two, the left channel and right channel, more or less the same thing, but there is a little difference. You can use all that data to drive your animations. So let's do that now. I'm going to animate the scale of this circle right here. So what you can do is alt click on the stopwatch and pick whip this value like that. And once you do that, you will see now it's reacting to the audio. Cool. But the problem here is now it's all over the place, right? It's too noisy. Yeah, and the circle used to be big, but now it's small. Why? It's because it's now perfectly matching to this value right here, because we are extracting the same value from here and link it to the scale attribute right here. That's what this does, right? Temp, this is a variable. Whatever this value is, we are getting that value and we are putting it into the scale X and Y. That's what we're doing. But what we can do is something like that. Actually, type var. That's a bit cleaner. Value plus. If you do that, now what happens is, value right now is, if you select here, that's what you would see. This is the value that was already there, 100. That's the value plus whatever comes from here. Now at the moment, value plus 30.16. So yeah, that's what the value is here, 130.2. So that's what it does. The other advantage of writing the value plus whatever the value here is, because now we can change it like this. If we think it's too much, then we can scale it down as well, and then still the animation is going to work. All right. Now the other problem is that now this is too noisy. If you can see here, if it is too noisy, the most easiest thing to do is to select this attribute right here, and then you select all of these keyframes and go to Windows Smoother and smooth it out, like maybe with tolerance 3. When you do that, what the software would do is that it would average out the keyframes, which would smooth out the animation a little bit. All right, like so. But most of the time, this doesn't give you most accurate results. Sometimes it could give you, but I don't prefer that way that much. but that's a viable way of doing things. People do that all the time. It's okay to do that, but I'll show you a better way. That's to write an expression. So let me do that. Let me actually rename this as input, and I'm going to use an expression here called a function here called let me create another variable. Let's call it temp, and ease. That's a function. I'll write it and then I explain it. And I'm going to write input. That's this variable input, and the minimum value 0. I'll explain this. I'll explain everything. 0, 50. All right. What this does is let me go to the let me go to Adobe expression reference. Go to interpolation. This is an interpolation function, just like the linear function. I have a tutorial for linear function as well. I'll provide the link in the description. Very useful function, and sometimes for this purpose I've seen that artists use the linear function here as well, but I prefer and I recommend ease to use the ease function, because the developers say so. This method, this is what the Adobe says, this is Adobe talking, this method results in a smooth animation, right? That's how they have implemented it. We don't know the implementation, we don't need to know. That's what this function does. T is the current input, and the T minimum, maximum, value 1, value 2. So that's the function we're using. The input is the current input, whatever the value that comes from here, and 0 should be the minimum value that I can expect in this input value. All right, the minimum value I can expect. The maximum value I expect from here is like 50. If you can remember, it was like 51 something. So that means we are considering all the values between from 0 to 50, the whole range. At the moment, the whole range, we are almost the whole range we are considering that. And this is the output. 0 is the, excuse me, that's my dog. When the value is 0, the function outputs 0. When the value is at 50, function outputs 50. Now we can change this as well. We can ask the function to output 200 when the value is 50, right? If you do that, look at that. Now it goes up to 200. We can go up to 200, right? We can because the maximum value that it can take is like 200. So value plus 200, so it will go to 300. It can go up to like 300 scale. It can reach up that. But let's do like 20. If we do 20, there'll be less movement because the maximum value it can reach now is 120. The function smooths out whatever the input value that comes here. It cuts all the noise, but we can cut out like every value under 10. Now we are considering only the values between 10 and 30. 10 and 30. Now if I do that, look at that. Now we have limited the movement. Now this is a great way of controlling your animation. Right now I'm doing, let's actually narrow down further. 25 to maybe 20 to 30. Let's see what it does. Now you can see, yeah, if I do something like this, like 50 and 40, now this means it only considers values between 50 and 40. So it only reacts to higher valued areas of the audio. I don't know the terminology for this audio. All right. When something like I don't know, a drum hit or a higher pitched node something hits, it reacts. All right, now this is super useful when you're making these animations. Now scale is not the only thing that you can do. You can do this to anything. Let me actually copy this. Let me apply it to rotation, and let me change this a little bit. Right now we don't have to do this. Value plus. Let me actually consider the whole range now, and rotation 180. Now it's going to fluctuate between yeah, look at that, that's the rotation. Now what this means is that I'm going to consider all the values like 0 to 50, and it's going to change the rotation from 0 to 180. So it's a lot of rotation, so we can actually do even more, like 360, so a whole rotation. Look at that. And we can limit that as well. 10. Now we see a very little rotation there, very limited rotation there. And why we write this part right here is because now we can change this. If we change it like that, it will stay there, and anything that fluctuates, it fluctuates around that value that we have set right here, like -95, 50. If we do that, now look at this. If we do this trick right there, like 40 and 50, so we are only reacting to the high-pitched notes, right? When something happens, something big note happens, only this rotation takes place. All right, and yeah, it's like that. And you can also apply this to any effect. Let me go to effect, color correction, color balance HLS maybe. Yeah, let me copy the same thing right here. It's the same thing. All right, the hue value, the hue is going to change between 0 and 50. That's what it means. See that? Now the color changes as well. If you need to see a bigger change, let me type 180, then you'll see a lot of change. See that? Yeah. And you can, because these are just simple numerical values, you can link this to anything, any property that you can think of. So let me go to a more complex example. All right, the tutorial is not about how to create this scene file. This scene is actually very simple. It's like, you know, you have a background, and I have a gradient applied to it, gradient ramp, and a color balance HLS effect as well. And I have a triangle. It's 3D. If you see the position, yeah, it's like 1000 units away. It's 3D. And I have a triangle right here. And I have this image, which I have downloaded from Unsplash. Yeah, it's a cutout, imported as a PNG file. And I have duplicated the background. Let me do that for you. Yeah, I have duplicated the background, duplicated the model. Yeah, and alpha matte. Let me do that, and change the mode to color so I can blend it better. Character is now better blended with the environment. And these are two triangles I've placed in 3D space. These are the positions, and I have applied a glow. For this triangle also I've applied a glow, and this is an adjustment layer, and for that adjustment layer I've applied a glow. with high threshold, so the glow won't apply on the model, but only on these triangles. And there's an optics compensation, another adjustment layer here, optics compensation, so you can do some distortion like this. So yeah, this is the scene file, and I have a simple camera rig right here. Now this is the scene file. Now let me walk through, and I have the same audio track here, same audio amplitude generated, audio track generated right here. One of them is smoothed out, and yeah, those are the audio tracks. Now here, what I do is that same thing. Let me show you. For color balance HLS, I've applied that same expression right here. All right, this will change the background color. Let me actually change it like that. All right, now you can see the color reacts to the audio. Let me do the same thing here. What's the value? Copy -73. Now remember, because I've written the expression like value plus, because of that I can change initial value. All right, and for the model, I don't think I have anything applied to it. Okay, and for this triangle, I've applied that same expression for the scale. Now scale fluctuates between 100 and 120. And for opacity, I have the same expression applied, and the opacity is going to fluctuate between 0 and 100. So let me have an initial opacity like 50 right there. And let me actually do rotation. Yeah, I need to add some rotation there as well. In order to do that, I have this layer, the triangle closest to camera. Let me press U. I have the Z rotation expression applied between 0 and 10. It's going to fluctuate between 0 and 10, and it's going to consider the whole range. And for the transparency, it's the same thing, same expression here. And why I did that is that I need to link the same rotation. Alt click on the stopwatch and pick whip. All right, now this rotation, this triangle is going to have the same rotation as this triangle, and this triangle, the Z transformation, Z rotation has this expression applied, so it would react to the audio. And the same thing here for the next triangle. I have the opacity once again, same expression, the opacity expression. And for this one also, let's link the rotation. All right, now all the triangles will rotate and react to the audio. Let me see how it does. You see that? Now, yeah, the scale changes, the background changes, not going on. And for the glow, yeah, if you can see, it's the same expression over and over again. I'm just playing with these values. The glow radius, and for glow intensity as well. The glow intensity right now here, it's between 0 and 0.1. This is because this is a 32-bit composition. If we go for higher values like 1, 2 for intensity, it'll be too bright because it's 32-bit. So that's why it's such a small number. And when the intensity goes up, the radius also increases. That's the idea here. And for optics compensation, I think I have another one here. Yeah, for the field of view, 0 and 30, the field of view is going to change a little bit right here. For optics compensation, I have reversed the lens distortion anyway, by the way. So how this would look like is, Now you can see the glow radius, the glow amount, and the optic compensation does a real good job there. Now let's animate the camera a little bit. Now for rotation, and in this camera transform 1 control, I have the position. By the way, what's happening here is that these are 3 null objects. Let me show you parent and link. This is actually a hierarchy. The camera has been parented to this null object, and it has been parented to this, and it has been parented to this. So this is a simple camera rig that I always use. So yeah, and for camera transform 1 control, for position, Z position, you know, you can always separate dimensions. That's what I have done here. You can separate. I have separated the dimensions, and only for Z position, I have applied this expression right here. And what it would do is that the Z position of the camera would now react to the audio, like so. And because the triangles are distributed in Z space, it gives you this 3D depth. Okay. And just for fun, I've applied same expression to the Y rotation as well, and it would rotate a little bit around. I don't think it looks good because these are 2D layers. This lady is actually a 2D layer, so I don't like it that much. But for fun, you can try that one as well. Let me disable it for now. I think you can say now it's more or less the same expression. So write this down, and you can create a really cool looking music visualizer with this. And in the last week, I've done 2 tutorials for audio spectrum effect and audio waveform effect, and we'll combine this knowledge with those 2 effects, audio waveform and audio spectrum, probably in the next week, and we'll create a kick-ass music visualizer. Yeah, look forward for that. And this is all for today, and I'll see you in another tutorial really soon. Thank you very much. Bye bye.